And gentlemen, what I would like to do is get out of the way and let you, with your expertise, respond to what you've heard in this report by Jeffrey Goldberg. And Seth, you know this show has a bias for the United States Senate going first, so we'll let Senator Kerry start us off.
Well, look, it's completely consistent. There's nothing surprising about the president's attitude towards people who choose to serve their country. What concerns me, Lawrence, that we have a higher fraction of men and women who served in the military who are committing suicide. And oftentimes they feel like they're losers. They feel like they're suckers. Especially those of us who are injured, we do feel that we might make people uncomfortable when they're around us. And I just say to those men and women who have served, you're not losers. You're not suckers. You served your country, and we value that service. You've given us more than we have a right to expect, frankly. And don't be concerned that the president doesn't understand service, because all of us who have served do understand. And we're very grateful to you, Seth, and others who have stepped to the plate and served in two wars that at times were quite unpopular, very much like Vietnam.
Well, Senator, you've set an inspiring example for many Americans, myself included. I mean, look, this isn't surprising. Donald Trump is the most selfish person in public service in American history. And yet, tonight might be the first time that I actually feel sad for Donald Trump, because this is just so pathetic. I mean, he's clearly sick. He's clearly ill. And I feel sad for the American troops who are under his command as our commander-in-chief. This is a dangerous man who has this job. Senator Kerry has explained just one reason why it's dangerous, but to think that young Americans on the front lines in places like Afghanistan tonight have to rely on this man to make decisions about their lives. It's just a sad day for America.
Jeffrey Goldberg has this report inside the mind of Donald Trump, as it were, saying, several observers told me that Trump is deeply anxious about dying or being disfigured. And this worry manifests itself as disgust for those who have suffered. Bob Kerry, what's your reaction to that?
Well, again, I mean, I'm no longer worried about what you think of me, Lawrence. I'm actually wearing shorts right now, so I don't. But it took a while to get over it. It took a while to get to a point where I didn't feel like I was upsetting people as a consequence of their seeing the disfigurement that I suffered in Vietnam. And again, to every man and woman who has been disabled from war, every man and woman who has stepped forward and volunteered and served, you are not losers. You're not suckers. And I know many people who served in Vietnam who felt that because the war got to be unpopular. And we lost the war. We withdrew, and they felt like they were suckers. They felt like they were losers. They felt like men like Donald Trump, who claimed that he had bone spurs and got out of it, that they were the smart ones. The men and women who have served our country in the unpopular wars, in many ways, are the ones we should value the most. They've asked for nothing other than respect, and we should just give it to them. And in many ways, ignore what the president is saying and speak directly to the men and women who are wearing the uniforms of the Army, Air Force, Navy, and Marine Corps, because they're the ones that we ought to be concerned about, not the president and his attitude towards service.
It seems that many in the military can see Donald Trump in the way that he is being seen tonight. We have a recent poll in the Military Times saying 49.9% of the military have an unfavorable view of Donald Trump, only 38% with a favorable view of Donald Trump. That's a Military Times and Syracuse University poll of active duty troops. In that same poll, Joe Biden is ahead of Donald Trump, 41-37. Seth Moulton, what is your sense of of what the troops will be thinking as this story sinks in?
I mean, I hope that it opens the eyes of that 37% to really see who this man is. He dodged the draft for a reason. He refused to go for a reason. And there's nothing more important in America than our values. That's why when you swear that oath to serve in the military, you swear it to the Constitution, a document that enshrines our values. You don't swear it to a political party, to a president, to any leader. You swear it to a set of values. And the willingness to put your life on the line for those values, it's the most selfless kind of service there is. That's why I was inspired to volunteer myself, just to be a volunteer, like Senator Kerry and so many who've gone before us. And when you undermine that, you undermine the essence of America, our fundamental values. That's why this is so dangerous. There are a lot of commanders in chief that I've disagreed with. I served 4 tours under George W. Bush. I didn't vote for him twice. I was an outspoken critic of his war. But I was proud to serve, and I never once questioned the loyalty of George W. Bush, for all my disagreements with him, to our Constitution. But you can't trust that. You can't trust that loyalty with Donald Trump. In fact, we've had it proven to us that he's disloyal. I mean, he is a traitor. Mary Trump is right.